All right. Well, I appreciate you meeting with me this afternoon, good brother. I'm not gonna say your name or introduce you. I'll let you do that. So you can tell me your name, where you're from, and what it is that you do. We get this thing started.
Well, I'm Ryan Jones. I'm from the north side of Pittsburgh, and I'm a firefighter actually for the city of Pittsburgh.
Great, great, great. So, being a firefighter, that's something that's introduced to us as early as preschool, but let's just sort of pretend that we don't know exactly what it is that firefighters do. So, can you just give me sort of a rundown what it is that you do as a firefighter?
Yeah, as far as firefighters, since we're professional firefighters and not volunteers, we are actually first responders, we're firefighters. So that involves a little EMT work. So that's a lot of our job because there's not too many fires for real. Like they happen here and there, but most of our work is EMT work. Uh, Most of like people call 911, someone's sick. It from all the way from like a headache up to like I had a dude who cut his chest open with a pipe saw, all
Man,
type of crazy stuff.
wow. So for those folks who don't understand the EMT acronym, what does that stand for?
Emergency medical technician, and
Okay.
we're level B. There's a couple different levels. We're level B.
Okay. Cool, cool, cool. So first responders meaning that, someone has a sort of situation, like, you guys are, first on the scene with like, ambulance, stuff like that.
Oh
Correct.
yeah, we're there before the ambulance. That's really what we're there for. Just there's so many of us and so little of them, and so much going on in the city. We really help them for the most.
Wow, interesting, interesting, interesting. So yeah, thank you for that because I think that, when folks generally think of firefighters, they think of what they've been taught really since, grade school of, these guys, being in the bed 1 second and the next thing they're sliding down poles, hopping in trucks and fighting fires pretty much, Monday through Sunday type of thing. So,
Yeah, the what we have those days,
mhm.
but most of our days it's waking up and getting up. But it's medical too now. It's a big part in our city, especially how we're set up. It's hard for like units to even get to the medical facilities coming through the tunnels and all type of stuff. You know how that goes in the city.
Got it, got it. Yeah, man. Interesting, interesting stuff, man. So, let's get right to it. So Ryan leaves high school. You walk out of high school today. Ryan is a professional firefighter. Try to give us the Cliff Notes versions of how from the day you left high school to the role you're in now, how you get there. What was your path?
See, when I left, I kind of knew what I wanted to do, but had no idea for real. And I just knew that I couldn't really afford college and didn't want to have all that debt. And like, you kind of falls on your parent too and didn't want to put that burden on my mom. So I joined the military. I joined the National Guard right out. Well, really, I was in. It was my senior years when I actually joined.
Okay.
And so came right out, went into training. Then I did my couple years there. Well, while I was in the National Guard, I just worked general jobs. I was all the way from a valet, but to, I ran a whole Foot Locker store.
Right.
So like all during that time, I'm still, you know, working regular job. But then I literally was working and talking to another firefighter. I just took a test. That was all it really was. And that's how I got into firefighting. And then once I got into it is when I really started liking it and everything about it, sciences and all that. But me as a person, I've always been into science and math and everything like that. So it was kind of natural transition for me.
You touched on something really, really important. So just to clarify for the audience, you're saying that there was there was nothing that you really needed to do to actually prepare to be a firefighter, like no sort of degree, no sort of qualifications, no sort of anything. You just took a test.
You just got to graduate high school, basically.
Got it. Got it. That's
And now,
very important to sort of emphasize so folks understand that.
now a big thing in our city is that you don't have to be a city resident anymore. You can live basically within an hour of downtown and take the test. But if you are a city resident, you get extra points on the test and things of that nature. So there's incentives of being a city resident and graduating from city school. But it's open to people because, our city really includes like Wilkinsburg and Bellevue. There's all type of small neighborhoods that they're separate from the city that is like, you're really part of the city.
No, I mean, that's really interesting that, because, being a former sort of government employee myself, living in the city was definitely one of the requirements. And it's just like there are certain sort of divisions and departments of, the city that have sort of opened up, the ability to work for the city to people who don't actually reside. So, I know you guys were probably one of the first, but then still other departments like, your address has to be within the city of Pittsburgh in order for you to, be employed. So that's
we actually were fighting for it for a few years, like since our last contract.
Mm-hmm.
But it's basically, since it never was a contractual thing, it was just like a city mandate for their tests. It was like, it didn't make sense it went to arbitration. That's how crazy it was. So the arbiter was like, this is ridiculous. Like, they had to come up with a logical solution.
Mm-hmm.
So it just that we can live within an hour drive. It's an hour drive downtown.
Got it. Cool, man. So, jumping into a very important topic that I'm sure is on the minds of a lot of folks listening to this. So I'm not going to ask you how much money you make. And I understand, like I said, being a former city employee, I know that, they post all the jobs and all what people's names, how much they make every single year. So, that information is readily available for folks who know how to look. But, for a firefighter, in a city, municipality, whatever you want to call it, depending on where you are, what could someone expect in terms of like a salary from like a general range? What should they sort of expect for this type of field?
Real quick, before I jump on your question, I taught at the schools for a while, and like literally, I want to say it was like sixth graders. That was their first question. How much money do you make? I swear to you. It was crazy to me because like the teachers come in and talk to you before, like brief you on the students a little bit. And they're like, yeah, they're going to ask you. I'm like, they're kids. But no. But I can kind of relate because you start thinking about money earlier and earlier.
There you go, and then you try to associate, what it is that what it is that you do with how much money you make. And, maybe if you have the sort of, foresight to try to understand how that equates to living and how you would live based on that. So I guess the earlier
exactly
the better. So I can't knock it.
Definitely. But on paper, this year base salary is $73K, and dude, I'm not an officer or anything crazy, so I know a dude. What did he made 140 last year?
Wow.
Yeah, but he takes overtime all the time and everything. He doesn't have kids or anything, so it's like you can make that and more, really. Like if you start taking classes and more certifications, it's really about paperwork. The more paperwork you have, the more they got to pay you.
That's important to note. So just so folks, understand, the more sort of certs and everything like that you get, the more value will become and the more money that you can make. So good thing.
That's any career path too, though. I've noticed. I said any career path because I know a lot of contractors.
Yeah.
The more you know in your trades, the more money you make. So it relates to any job category for real.
Right. But just to reiterate, you're saying that the base salary for, a firefighter in this city is 73?
73 was base.
Thank you. Great info. So let's take a little spin, really quick. Ryan's firefighter today. Is Ryan going to be a firefighter tomorrow? 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Like, I'm just curious, where your career is going and, from your perspective, what sort of things are you trying to accomplish and, just try to understand your career trajectory from here.
For me, I've always been career driven anyway. I actually take like to get promoted, you got to take a test and you get put on a list. Like it's an active list right now. And then test comes up, I believe it's next year. So we'll take it again. You just keep taking it for real. But I started actually getting into other things, like things I enjoy, like actually like cooking. Like I'm going to start a catering business. Like,
Okay.
but I plan on taking my fire career 20 years. That's maximum for me. That's retirement. You got to give them 20.
So are you looking for any sort of different positions, like, like lieutenant or
Oh, yeah, that's what the officer test is. The first test would be to become a lieutenant. And then while you're a lieutenant, you can take the test to be a captain. And then you will move up chief, deputy chief, and then chief of the city.
Got it. Cool, man. Well, good luck with that, and definitely good luck with the catering.
Yeah, you gotta have something because our schedule. Oh, I didn't mention. I got to mention that because I mentioned the money. We work basically 2 days a week, 24-hour shifts a week. So it's not a bad schedule either.
Yeah, that you should have probably led with that because as soon as people do that, they're going to be like, sign me up tomorrow.
That's how it got me, honestly. Because I was in retail, I'm working 7 days a week, and he told 2 days a week. What? Sign me up.
Right. That's crazy. I didn't know that. I knew that you guys, definitely had, a significant amount of downtime, being that you sort of, you're responsive more so than, you can't really be proactive. You got to just wait till something actually happens. But, understanding what you just explained, man, that's deep. Good stuff, man. Definitely good stuff.
Yeah. I wanted to mention that because that's really what got me.
Cool, man. All right. So another curveball. Ryan, black man, firefighter. Does that mean anything? Does that impact being a firefighter, being in the industry? Has it impacted? Do you think it will? Just curious of what your general thoughts around that.
In my industry, it really doesn't matter except for representation, really. Like little kids seeing you, because there's not a lot of us. I'll say it like that. Mm-hmm. But we're out there, and like it gives me pride, honestly, just to be a reputable citizen and black man in the city. And like, I talk at the school, so you see the kids, they're like into you and they have that they admire you for real. Man.
That's amazing, man. That connection, that relatability, and that being able to connect. I mean, that's the whole purpose of this whole entire series, man. Being able to just explore different career paths with folks, who you can connect with, and look like you or look like your uncle or aunt or whatnot, man. So definitely appreciate that. Just that aspect of it,
Yeah.
Like having the kids being able to connect, and they see you, they hear you speak about what it is that you do, and now it's something they're thinking about and considering. That's how it's supposed to work, man.
Yeah, I think they need to get it more in the school, like, because honestly, coming out, if I knew I had that option, that lane, I probably would have took it. It's like it's the city needs to do more on that end, getting it out there. That's why I was going to talk at the schools, just to put us out there, put the job out there.
I dig it, man. I dig it. Something to think about, definitely. Hopefully, we can assist with that. Being able to show some of these interviews to the kids, so that just to get their mind moving, man. Just to know what's out there. So I definitely appreciate the fact that you go out and do what you do for the kids in the schools, man. Because schools are definitely a lot different than when we were coming up. So everything helps, every little bit.
Definitely.
Definitely salute to you, brother. Last thing. And it's obvious just due to the course of our conversation, but I have to ask anyway. Would you encourage someone to become a firefighter?
Oh, all day. They always like to say you hit the lottery, and that's how it kind of is. It's a great job. I already told you about the schedule, and you got the potential to earn really beyond 100K. I know there's a chief. I believe he made 300 already this year. And so if you're out there doing it and you put in the effort as far as the job, you can make the money.
Yeah, man. It's funny you say that because I used to look at those lists, whenever they were published, and I swear every single year, at the top of the list, the people with the most income would be those fire chiefs and stuff like that. Because you'll see, because they always had it broken down. You see one part as the base, and then all the overtime they work, which was the overtime was more than their sort of base salary. So they were able to make more than what they get paid just in overtime, and just took them into the 100, 200, and you say close to $300,000 range. I mean, the opportunity there is crazy, and the potential. I guess I'm curious now that going a little off course. So how I guess available are the roles or the positions? Are they closed, or I mean, are they currently looking? Like, how's that work?
Well, there are currently, I'd say a rough number, 40 positions, but there's a class in right now, and there is 30 something dudes in it. So, but those positions that aren't filled right now are just overtime for other dudes, just to fill the position. But honestly, I don't think the city can fill itself just because there's dudes right now who can retire if they wanted to.
Right.
And dudes just, you never know when someone's going to retire on a job. It could be personal, medical. It could be job related that you go off. There's so many variables to it that you can't really get a handle on it. So that's why we're like kind of always hiring. Seems like we would have crazy turnover or something that we're always hiring, but no, it's just dudes retire. And that's another thing people don't understand. A lot of the dudes on the job are older, even though they're not at retirement age, they're right there. And we can retire, I believe it's 55.
Got it. That's very important to note. So,
50 or 55.
Once you're able to put the time in, you have the ability to retire. And, and that's one of the things that I think that is impacting just sort of employment just across the board, especially with government, understanding some of the older sort of generations who, they aren't like us, and to where they're like sort of, hopping from, hey, I'm here 3 years and I'll go over here for 2, then go over here for, 5 years sort of thing. It's like, our parents, our grandparents, once they got with a firm or, organization, institution, if that's where they work, they're riding that thing out into the sunset. So, we're seeing a lot of, those folks sort of retiring, and some of these, roles sort of coming available. And, and some industries, I mean, they feel like they can't even fill the roles just because of how many people will be retiring. So, taking that into consideration, definitely good thing to note that there's definitely a lot of opportunity out here just across all, just new jobs being created, but also, vacancies as well from people who are, in retirement age. So thank you for sharing that. That was really helpful.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. There's little perks that you got to mention. You got to hook people.
Definitely, man. But yeah, bro, that's what I got, man. I don't got anything else. You think there's anything that we left out or anything that you would like to leave us with?
Nothing that we left out, but I will leave you with pittsburghpa.gov. And if you go to the resources, you can find the application. Apply for the job. For anyone looking, definitely the younger people. We need younger people on my job.
Younger people, I hope y'all listening, man. So, I definitely appreciate the time, man. As always, great catching up, brother. Good luck whenever it is that you do decide to take the, the officer's test. Good luck with the catering business. And yeah, man, we got to catch up soon, man. So we get, play some ball.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Thank you for let me interview. All
I appreciate you, man. I'll talk to you soon.
right, bro.
All right, man. Take care.